What up? Welcome to 20 on the Town podcast. I'm your host, Mizo, recording from Hotbox Tulsa, 2130 South Memorial Drive. Today we have a special guest and hopefully future colleague. You might have seen him on Channel 6 going public about the legalization, trying to get the legalization of medicinal marijuana here in Oklahoma. He's also a Navy veteran, Oklahoma native. We have Cody Barlow. What's going on, man?
How you doing, Mizo?
Pretty good, man. Glad to have you here, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on your show. It's an honor.
Definitely. Appreciate you. You was in the service.
Yes, I served in the Navy from June of 2013 to September of 2017.
Okay. What was your rank and occupation?
I was an E5. I was a gunner's mate.
Okay. Sounds fun.
It was. I got to shoot a lot of rounds.
Yeah.
50 cal machine gun, the M240.
Okay.
All everything from the pistol up to launching missiles. So I had a good time.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Within 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was quick. It didn't seem like it at the time, but it flew by.
Yeah. I'm kind of familiar with the military life. Had a few. My pops was in the Navy and the Army, and also, wow. All my uncles, man. Anywhere from Navy to Marines to Army.
Wow.
Got a cousin in the Air Force right now as we speak. So, very familiar with that lifestyle.
Wow.
I'm a military brat.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, man, 50 cals. What was you shooting at?
Depends. I mean, we had a lot of times we were just shooting into open ocean.
Right.
But we also had inflatable targets, called it killer tomatoes, real large inflatable targets. So we put a few 100 yards out, 1,000 yards out, just kind of depended. But they also had armored boats that were remote control that they would send out and go in weaving patterns, come towards the ship real fast. So had a lot of interesting experiences, a lot of different training scenarios.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's real cool. What's some of the places you've been?
Some of the places I've been to Asia. I've been to
what part of Asia?
I've been
Japan?
to South Korea.
Okay.
I've been to Singapore, Indonesia, the Philippines.
Okay.
Back closer to stateside, I've been to Hawaii and Guam. I've also been to Canada. So I've got to see a lot of interesting places I never would have without the Navy. So
definitely.
Yeah.
San Diego.
I was stationed in San Diego. Yes.
I used to stay in San Diego.
It's nice out there. Too expensive though.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I've been to the naval base out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, man, your career, man, in the Navy, has it taken a toll, like, on your body physically or, like, mentally?
Yes, in a way. So I suffer from PTSD and several other conditions. The PTSD is not combat related, but I suffer from several different conditions that were, I guess, service connected is what they would call it.
Okay.
So.
So it was like a discharge? Did you discharge out of there, or?
Yes, it was an honorable discharge, but I was medically discharged, medically retired from the Navy.
Okay.
I was in a holding process on limited duty while they were medically processing me out of the military.
Okay.
So I was doing that for about 7 or 8 months until I was finally discharged to come back home.
Okay.
So I spent a majority of 2017 at the Naval Medical Center, San Diego, Balboa.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
What was wrong with you?
I was being evaluated and treated for the PTSD and major depression, panic disorder with agoraphobia, pain disorders. I had to go to physical therapy, a lot of different things. So
Yeah.
just they decided I wasn't fit to continue service. So
yeah. Would you have continued?
I was on the fence about it. I really didn't. I don't know if I would have continued or not.
Yeah.
You know, if things wouldn't have happened the way they did.
Okay.
I definitely don't regret joining the military. It was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. I loved it. Got to experience a lot of things, go to a lot of different places I never would have been, meet a lot of great friends that I still have and keep in touch with today. So it's done a lot for me. I think it's amazing. I mean, if anybody decides to go, a lot of power to them. It's hard. It's not easy. It's a different lifestyle. So.
A lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And real spur of the moment things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like off the rip, you got to go. When they call, you got to go. You're on their time.
Yep.
Yeah. So for those conditions, like, what kind of drugs have they prescribed you, the doctors or whatnot?
Different drugs I've been on. I've been on antidepressants. Well, I still am. I'm on antidepressants, mood stabilizers, anxiety medications, several different ones. I struggle to remember all the ones I'm on right now, but I think right now I'm on 11 different prescriptions. I take 24 pills a day. That's close to 9,000 pills a year, and that's approximate. That's my minimum. There's others that have as needed doses, increased doses. So it just kind of varies, but 24 a day is the minimum for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I take several different things. I'm sure there's some people that can relate out there if they have similar conditions. I take Seroquel. It's an antipsychotic. I take Zoloft. It's an antidepressant. I've been on since about a year ago. It was January of 2017. I've been on about 8 or 9 different anxiety medications, including Klonopin, Valium, and Xanax. So all the benzos. Several different medications throughout that time. On Lamictal, Wellbutrin, just all kinds of different stuff. Muscle relaxers. Some of them I can't remember the name offhand, but
can you speak on like what happened, or was it just being on that boat for so long, or on the ship?
That's something that's still pretty fresh to me. I'd rather not discuss that. It's something hard to even talk to the doctors about right now.
Okay, no problem.
But
for sure,
that's
we'll respect it, man.
Thank you.
What I'm saying? We ain't got to dive into that. And so how long you've been on these prescribed drugs for?
Oh, a little over a year now. It was the beginning of last January, 2017.
Right. So. And when did you find out that cannabis was, suitable for you and helping you?
It was pretty recent. A few months ago, I think. I don't remember the exact date that it was, but once I had been discharged and everything, because of course you can't use it while you're active duty.
Right.
You run the risk of getting caught, getting kicked out, and dishonorable discharge. There's a lot of issues that can come with that.
Right.
But I had some good friends that used to live here in Oklahoma, and they left to move to Colorado, primarily for employment opportunities.
Okay.
A lot of different things, change of scenery, get out and experience something else. But cannabis was a motivating factor as well. A lot of people benefit from it for different reasons, and so there it's legal. I mean, it's both medical and recreational now.
Right.
But I kept in touch with them, and they were telling me that it's just such an amazing thing. It's viewed differently down there. It's people don't see it as anything different than alcohol or tobacco. It's not. There's no stigma out there. It's treated normally. So. I mean, here, if you're to use it illegally, you're always watching over your shoulder. You think somebody, you're going to get caught, you're going to get arrested. You're always, looking out the little peephole on your door. And
right.
There, it's not like that at all. People are just relaxed, and they self-medicate or they enjoy themselves. And so,
definitely.
So I saw a lot of success stories. I was skeptical, of course. Like, growing up in Oklahoma is real conservative, and you're taught to kind of be afraid of it. It's a gateway drug, whatever else.
Definitely. Heard that many times.
After taking so many prescription pills for so long, it's not working for me entirely. It only puts a Band-Aid on the situation, and it doesn't really help you feel that much better. Yeah. I think I need to do something else. I need to find something else. What's the alternative? Because I've taken all the
pills put you through some things. Up, down,
countless pills, countless hours of therapy, going to all kinds of different stuff. I mean, I've tried.
Make you sleepy.
It makes you feel sedated. It makes you feel like a zombie, really. You're walking around, it's like you're just numb to the world.
Okay.
And it's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, that's no way to live.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So I mean, was it at a coffee shop, or was it with your friends when you first tried it?
Oh yes, with my friends.
Yeah.
We went back to their house.
Okay.
So I stopped in there to visit them in Colorado, and the scenery was great. I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it there. It's great to go visit.
A lot of people tell me.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma's my home. I don't want to leave it, but
Right.
went to see the dispensary. That was an emotional experience for me.
Yeah.
It was. I teared up. I'll be honest. Like, I mean, I hate admitting it because I'm a guy and everything, but you know, I started to tear up because it was just such a powerful experience seeing that this was normal there, that this was legal, that people don't have to be concerned. You're not out on the streets trying to buy it from a dealer and you don't know what you're getting. It could be laced with something. Well, in this professional establishment, it's like walking in here. I mean, it's in a cabinet. It's labeled. It's taxed. It has the price on it. You know where it came from, who made it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And
if it's
so
indica, sativa, hybrid, things like that.
I didn't even hear those
uses of it.
Right.
Right.
I didn't even hear those terms until just a few months ago. My first time trying it, I didn't know what indica or sativa was. I wasn't familiar with that. That was the first time I had even heard it called cannabis.
Okay.
And so I didn't know what I was doing. I told the bud tender behind the counter that. I said,
the bud tender?
Yes. Yep. The guy working behind the counter. I didn't know that at the time either. I just recently heard it called that. So I asked him, hey, look, I'm from Oklahoma. It's really conservative there. We don't have a lot of education on this, so you know I feel kind of embarrassed, but I don't know anything about this. Can you help me out?
Right.
He's like, absolutely. He's like, most of our customers are like that. He's like, this is still a pretty new thing. Well, he asked me what my conditions were without going into too much detail because he wanted to know, do I have anxiety problems, depression, anything like that. He wanted to know if I had severe cases to where if he were to recommend a sativa that was high in THC, if it was going to stir up my anxiety and make it worse. And he didn't want to do that. He said, you know, it'd probably be better to go with an indica that's more dominant in CBD. So I found some good hybrids and some indica dominant strains that were that helped me out a lot. There were a couple strains. I mean, I've tried several. I tried about 9 different strains while I was in Colorado.
Okay.
And there were a couple that were borderline a little bit too much for me as far as the THC. It kicked up the anxiety.
Potency of it.
Yeah. So I definitely think it was important. Like, and he warned me about that, but that was my own experimentation. I wanted to see if that were going to help me, what that was going to do for me.
Yeah.
Because some of the hybrids and some of the sativa dominant strains actually do help a lot, and they make you feel very clear-headed, very normal. I mean, it's not an intense high. It was amazing.
Do you know what strand stuck out to you the most that helped you?
Ooh.
OG?
I remember some of the names. I don't remember which ones were indicas and which ones were sativas offhand. I'll have to look that up. But the names that I remember were Blue Dream.
Blue Dream, okay.
Marlinberry Kush, Lambo. So those are some of the newer kind of off names. At least as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Tried Agent Orange, Durban Poison. I believe it was called Super Lemon Haze. But the indica dominants were really good. You know, the Kush, things like that. Those were really helpful to me. It was more relaxing. It was more of a body relaxation feeling. And
that sounds like OG, man. You know, that'll kind of put you to rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make you feel real relaxed, you know. So were any of those, like, I guess, do you know if they were compared to medicinal, compared to, like, the ones in the coffee shop? Would it be, like, the same that they sell out of, like, a medical, like if you get prescribed for medicinal marijuana, would it be the same that would be in those coffee shops in Denver? You know what I'm saying?
That's my impression of it. It's
right.
I mean, aside from having to speak with your doctor about it.
Yeah.
See, I'm still somewhat unfamiliar with all of this. It's a new experience for me. I'm still trying to learn about it every day. But from what I've seen, I'm seeing the same strains, the same labeling coming from different grow operations.
Yeah.
It still has the percentages of the THC and the CBD. The bud tenders are still just as knowledgeable.
Right.
They're helping you out and telling you, giving you recommendations on what they think might help you. Because I used to think it was all the same.
Right.
I didn't know there was differences. I thought it was all just different strengths, I guess. Like some get you higher than others, and that was my impression of it before I learned about this. And now understanding that you have a choice in the way that you want it to make you feel, and you can avoid the kind of psychoactive properties of it that make you feel higher. If you just want to feel more relaxed and feel the pain relief and help with nausea and things like that. If you have insomnia, it helps you sleep.
Definitely.
Some people with anorexia, it helps like regain that hunger after having an eating disorder. But yeah, I really didn't see a whole lot of difference other than, I mean, as far as the quality and how it's controlled and all the things like that. It's still very professional, very regulated. Recreational did bring in a lot more money than the medical did.
Sounds about right.
But Colorado's amazing. They're seeing great results from it. All the highways that I drove through to get there, just brand new, dark black asphalt, fresh painted lines. Construction always going on to improve something. They said, the schools are very well funded with money.
Right.
Education is a big thing
as
there
it
now.
should be, especially with the cannabis coming through and definitely helping with the city in funds, capital, and all of that. So after that experience, man, what that right there made you want to push for the legalization of cannabis here in Oklahoma? Yes.
The thing that really, I guess I can explain how it affected me, how it helped me. So to explain to some, I'm sure the people that suffer from PTSD as well and some of the other symptoms, depression, anxiety, they'll understand this. But with PTSD, you can experience heavy dissociation. You feel emotionally disconnected from everything around you, from your friends, your family. You don't feel attached to anything around you. You just feel like you're kind of like third person experiencing life, like you're just watching somebody else live this life, and it doesn't feel normal. You don't feel joy, you don't feel anything. It's just you feel numb, and it's crazy to be talking to your friends and family and you have no idea what they're talking about. You can't keep up with the conversation. You feel isolated from everyone. It's terrible. And with my experience with cannabis is that it made me feel normal again. Like it made me feel like I could connect with my family again, that I felt whole, that I felt that connection to the world, that I felt emotions again, that I was, having feeling and ultimately feeling more normal than I have felt in such a long time. I felt like I had my life back again. It's hard to explain that to someone that's never been around it, doesn't know anyone that has used cannabis before or, had success with it. A lot of people are still hearing the fear-mongering and the propaganda and stuff like that's been around for such a long time with like reefer madness and the war on drugs and all the commercials that tell you terrible things about it. That's not the case. It was such a dramatic impact on my life in a good way. I mean, it saved my life. Dealing with all these issues, suicidal ideations is one of them, and it's not that you want to die or anything like that. It's that you just don't want to suffer this stuff anymore. You don't want to live like this. You don't want to just like every day is just worse than the last. And so it made me feel like I had my quality of life and control over my life again, and I felt balanced again. I felt whole as a person. And so it was a really powerful thing for me. It was emotional. I mean, I cried during that, my first experience with that, because it just because all the pills that I take, 24 pills a day, 9,000 pills a year almost, that's approximate. Out of all those pills, none of them affects me like cannabis does. Cannabis is so much more effective. It helps me out way more than any of those pills ever have.
Right.
And without the side effects. A lot of those pills, I'll have fits of anger, periods of insomnia. I get very little sleep and terrible sleep. It's all broken up. I have a lot of issues from it.
I feel like you'd have like bad health taking all those pills as well.
You get migraines all the time, headaches all the time. You get nausea. It's terrible. I mean, having to skip meals with your family just because like you can't stand to be around the smell of the food or anything like that. It's just everything's making you sick, and you're getting angry at the littlest things. It's hard to explain to someone that hasn't gone through those things, but I'm sure most of you know somebody that's going through that. It's powerful stuff.
So now that it's made you a believer, you're pushing for it here in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Question 788.
788. That's correct. Yep.
Could you kind of brief us on that?
Yes. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of confusion on Oklahoma's State Question 788. A lot of people aren't even aware of it. They'll see me around town wearing, like I have the same shirt, the Raw T-shirt, and I'll have a hat with a green cross on it and a leaf and everything.
Definitely.
Kind of as an icebreaker to bring up the conversation.
Right.
Well, they come up and saying, "Oh, hey man, I support. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, smoke up 420."
Right.
Like, "Oh, that's cool. So you support 788?" And the reaction is usually always, "What's that?"
Right.
Like, if you support this, you need to know what 788 is. It's coming up. June 26th is the vote. People need to know that you need to be registered before June 1st.
Okay.
So a little bit about the state question, what it entails. There's been concerns about what it means. A lot of people don't want to take the time to read all the way through that question. There's a lot of text in it. Well, just a quick breakdown. It is for medical cannabis, not just for open recreational legalization. You need if you're 18 and up, you need a doctor's recommendation. So a board-certified physician has to give you a signed recommendation, and you take that to a dispensary with your identification as well. If you're under 18, say it's a child with epilepsy, having seizures or anything like that, anybody under 18 can gain medical access, but they need 2 board-certified physicians and their parent or legal guardian signature. So
a little bit more serious.
Right. They're not just handing this out to anybody and everybody. It's controlled and it's regulated.
Yeah.
Another thing to know is that 75% of the revenue that comes from this bill is going to go to education. The other 25% is going to go to the Department of Health, and it's going to help with drug rehabilitation. It's going to help with a lot of different things.
Right on.
So it's going to be doing a lot of positive things. It's helping out people that really need it, that really benefit from medical cannabis, as well as helping end the opioid epidemic in Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's going to help people get into rehab, get them treated for that, help them, slowly get them off of these opioids.
Right.
And so they can, live a life without those.
Right. Some get, I hate to say, I guess too used to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Taking them and depending on them.
Yes, they're very addictive. You get dependent, and it goes into physical dependence.
Yeah.
I mean, you start having severe withdrawals.
Yeah.
A lot of people that, since they're cracking down on it now, the doctors are taking it away from the patients, the opioids, all the painkillers and everything. They're turning to the streets, and they're going to heroin.
Right.
Being that heroin is one of the strongest opiates out there.
Right.
And they realize, wow, I get just as strong, if not stronger, of a feeling from this. And it's crazy.
What they're prescribed to.
Heroin is a huge problem in this state. Several of the drugs are methamphetamines.
Definitely.
So
it's another one. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of classify cannabis in that same category, and it's not. It's nowhere near that. It needs to be rescheduled federally.
Yeah.
But
definitely. So how'd you come across it though? Like, what did you just look it up? How to legalize marijuana here in Oklahoma?
I got curious. I had known about previous attempts to get it onto the ballot for a vote that got shut down over the last few years. I started doing research. My friends were talking to me saying, hey, there's a petition going around. It's potentially going to be on the vote for Oklahoma.
Okay.
Well, I started kind of following it, asking around, going online, doing research, and finally saw that it had been said we were going to put it on a vote. We just weren't sure what the date was. Well, I went to a forum up here in Tulsa a couple months ago. They were talking, it was the medical marijuana question. It was on Oklahoma Watch. And that got me really involved in it. I started hearing people talk about it in a different way. I'd never been in a room full of people talking about that before.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I didn't know so many people cared so much about this, or it was such an important issue.
Yeah.
Well, there was, experts on the issue there. We had doctors, activists, people from the legislation, state representative. And so it was, it was really, it was great to have that. I feel like we need to have a lot more of those. But
some real back support.
Mm-hmm.
How many people you think was in that room?
I wish I could remember. I don't know the exact number, but
like around about
150,
Ooh.
200 possibly. Okay. I'm not sure.
All right. So, where else do you try to, do you go to like events to try to get people to learn more about Question 788, get them to register and things like that? Like, what all do you do?
Yes, I've been starting to try to get involved in that. Recently, I've just mostly been doing my own thing, sharing my story about this and, how cannabis has impacted my life so positively. Like, it saved my life, like I was saying before. That's been my main focus, is trying to speak to people and give them information about the state question, and let them know that it's coming up, let them know when the date is. And a lot of people still don't know that. Well, I started talking to some organizations without, I don't get affiliated with them directly or anything, but I go to their events. They've had me speak and do interviews. There's going to be several coming up in the near future that I'll be going to speak at, and I think it'll be really good. But I'm so passionate about this because it's affected my life so much, and then also people that I've been meeting recently, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you haven't, you definitely should look it up. The success stories with medical cannabis, especially in little children having severe epilepsy, the seizures. There's
I've seen some footage.
The people that are having issues with Parkinson's and Tourette's syndrome. It's helping cancer patients. It reducing sizes of tumors. It's killing cancer cells. Like it's
eye opening, man. You know what I mean? It's amazing what cannabis is doing for people, man. And you know. Even if you're new to it, you can get up on it real quick. Like, man, I think the States is really open to it, and they see what it's doing. And then you said 75% of the some of the revenues go towards education.
Yes,
that's what we need here in Tulsa.
Absolutely,
that's what we need, man.
I grew up in Wagner. I went to school in Wagner, and I haven't looked at the most recent statistics on it, but we were 49th out of 77 counties in the state for education. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's so run down.
It's been looking bad year after year, man. It's been looking bad for us, man.
A lot of these schools are going down to 4-day work weeks. They can't afford to pay all these teachers. They've got.
I've been seeing extra holidays.
Absolutely.
Like, we didn't have these holidays back when I was a kid.
Right.
So yeah, man.
There's tons of stress on the teachers now. Their classrooms are overfilling. They've got way too many students for one person. Absolutely.
The population here in Tulsa. So, when was that date again? When did they need to register by?
You need to be registered to vote before June 1st of this year.
June 1st, man. Where can they go register? There's
several places you can go register. I'll pick up one of these cards real quick just so I can make sure I'm giving you accurate information.
Definitely.
So, voter registration applications are available at your county election board, post offices, tag agencies, libraries, and many other public locations. If you can't seem to find one, ask somebody around. I'm sure somebody can direct you, but your county election board is a great place to do it because you go in, it takes maybe 10 minutes to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
It's not hard at all. It takes 10 minutes of your time to stop in there, fill out the paperwork, hand it to them. They turn it in for you, get you registered. You're just going to receive your voter registration card in the mail.
Yeah.
So people need to do that as soon as possible.
Anything?
No, not at all. You don't pay a dime.
All right.
You don't wait until the last minute to do this stuff.
Nah. Man, I might need to catch some footage of you, man, out there, man, and you know, I might help push you, man. You know what I'm saying? Push with you on this, man.
It's an important issue. It's going to help a lot of people.
I believe so,
There's
man.
families that are struggling and having to, you know, medicate in fear with their children.
Right.
It's terrible that somebody should be afraid to give a child medicine. That's the only medicine that works for them. Everything else is just killing them. The pills that they take. I mean, there's little 3, 4, 5-year-old kids on benzodiazepines. That's addictive enough. Like, adults have trouble dealing with that. There's very large adults that are taking those and dying from that stuff, and opioids as well. But just to let people know also, you need to re-register to vote if you've moved, if you've changed your name, if you'd like to switch political parties, or if you haven't voted in the past 4 years. That's an important one. I've known several people that haven't ever voted.
Right.
It's very important to know this stuff.
So, man, look, register before June 1st. It's January right now, man. It'll probably be February when you see this. You know, we got a couple of months. I'll probably be getting some footage of Cody, man. I definitely like what he's doing. I support question 788, man. Get familiar with it. Man, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate you.
Here, I'm going to give you a toast, man, for being a veteran out here, man, serving your country.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's really great with what you're doing, you know, helping me out and get this story out, and you're helping a lot of people out with this podcast. It's awesome.
Definitely. It's a platform, man, for Tulsa and for the state of Oklahoma. But, man, I can only appreciate what you're doing, you know, really, truly. Let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me on Facebook, Cody Barlow. I'll be the picture with a cowboy hat and sunglasses. I'm fishing. I also have a public page. You'll see me. I'm wearing a suit and smiling.
Yeah.
So it's the same name, just 2 different pages. You can add me on there, and I'll invite you to like my page if you'd like to see more of my interviews. I'm always posting new information about cannabis and its benefits, information about the voting dates, where to register. So if you'd like to stay up on that. But definitely keep up on it. It's an important issue.
Yeah. So. You was on Channel 6, right?
Yes, Channel 6 News here out of Tulsa, News on 6. They did an interview with me. That's one of my shorter ones. It's about 2.5 minutes long, so that's an easier one to watch. If you guys want to go to the Facebook page called Legalize It, Don't Criticize It, you follow that, you can see my most lengthy video up until this one. So this is the only other video I've done besides that one that was in depth, where I really shared all this information. It's not easy to share this, so you know, I really appreciate your time and everything. And it's hard to speak about this stuff. I'm scared, but you know, I feel like it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we appreciate your story, man. You know, we definitely need to broadcast this, man, and let them know, you know, what's going on with you and what you felt has helped you truly. You know what I mean? So, man, appreciate your time, man. Go ahead and let them know what podcast it is, man.
Oh, yeah. You guys see this show. I'm going to show you right here. You know, can I see it? I don't know if I have it in the right direction.
No, you good.
All right. We got a 20 on the Town podcast. You guys need to check it out. Like it. Follow it on Facebook.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Check out the rest of his podcast, too. Mizo, man. He's doing a lot of good things for people out here, helping out Tulsa.
Already, man. Appreciate that, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Cody Barlow, man. Vet. 20 on the Town, man.
Thank you.
No problem, man.